Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12 noon, and we'd like to begin our program. Welcome to the 5th annual Join the Journey Luncheon in support of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. I invite you now to find your seat and enjoy this short presentation of SCN Ministries as we settle in. Betsy Kamadima, thank you for the beautiful voice. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jean West, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 5th Join the Journey Luncheon for the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. Thank you so much for your presence with us today. We especially thank the sponsors of today's event. The sponsors are listed in your program and on the placard at the entrance to this room. We're very, very grateful for their support. Thank you. I've known the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth for many years now and have always admired their courage and their commitment to serve those on the margins of our society. In recent years, my love for this community of women has grown so much stronger as I have personally visited their ministry sites. You may know that the sisters not only work here in the United States, but internationally in India, Nepal, Belize, and Botswana. I've had the pleasure of visiting them in Louisville, throughout India, and this year, Botswana. And I'll share some stories about Botswana in a little bit. For now, just let me say that you will be inspired by all that you'll hear this hour. And so much of that is possible because of you here in this room. As we begin, let's take a moment to pause and ask God's blessing on our meal and on our time together. I invite Sister Mary Elizabeth, the Provincial of the Western Province, to lead us in prayer.
And so we pray. Gracious and loving God, as we come together for this Join the Journey luncheon, let us pause for a moment to appreciate the opportunity to share a meal with friends and to gather with the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth to hear stories of ministries around the world. We praise and thank you, God, for the many ways you have blessed the SCN congregation over the past 205 years. Thank you also for the many blessings you have given to those present here. Fill our hearts with the desire to make a difference in the lives of our family members, our community, our country, and to the many cultures and peoples throughout the world. We thank you for this food in a world where many know only hunger, for faith in a world where many know fear, for friends in a world where many know only loneliness. Bless this food we are about to share, those who prepared it, those who serve it, those who worked to make it today a special occasion. For all of this, we give you thanks. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Mary Elizabeth. And now please enjoy your meal. Our program will resume in 10 minutes.
Since we promised that we would only keep you for an hour, we're going to go ahead and begin our program. For those of you whom I have yet to meet, I'm Sister Susan Gatz, and right now it's my joy and privilege to be serving as the president of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. So again, I echo Jean's thank you for joining us at this Join the Journey luncheon. To those of you who were with us last year, welcome back. And I know that a number of you have been with us for all of these 5 years that we've been doing this Join the Journey. So thank you for your loyalty and for being with us all these many years. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we really look forward to meeting you. And to all of you, we're very honored that you will take this hour of your precious time to spend with us. Let me share a few thoughts with you as we begin our program. We choose love. Those words jumped out at me from an interview with the sister of Taliesin Meche. He was one of the 3 men who were stabbed on a train in Portland, Oregon several months ago. They were defending two young Muslim women from a man who was spewing hatred, hateful words, and making threatening gestures toward them. The three men stepped in to try to change the situation, and they died in the effort. Days after his death, through her pain and sorrow, his sister talked about the goodness of her brother. She said, "We lost him in a senseless act that brought close to home the insidious rift of prejudice and intolerance that is too familiar, too common. He was resolute in his conduct and respect of all people. In his final act of bravery, he held true to what he believed was the way forward. We ask that you honor his memory and use this tragedy as an opportunity for reflection and change. We choose love. We choose love." My heart went out to them in their sorrow. The SCNs know the grief of having someone we love stabbed to death. A little over a year ago, our sister Paula Merrill was murdered in Mississippi in an equally senseless act of violence. My heart also resonated with her message because we too choose love. The Sisters of Charity of Nazareth motto, "The love of Christ impels us," is a pledge, a challenge, and a way of life for us. One of the gifts of being in leadership is getting to travel and be with our sisters, associates, and colleagues around the world. For me, it is truly like making a pilgrimage to love. As I travel around the congregation, I see this choosing love in the faces of the young women who are in formation in India, who spend part of their program ministering in the slums, staying with the families, actually living with the families, to know better the life of those living in poverty. Or in the face of a novice serving as a chaplain in a hospital in Belize, where pastoral care was non-existent before she came. They bring their youthful energy to the mission and are both living and learning love at the same time. I see choosing love in the faces of our older sisters, matured in loving, alive with enthusiasm for the mission, doing what their energy allows, for example, packing lunches and crocheting mats for the homeless in Pittsburgh, crocheting filters for water systems that allow people in disaster areas to have clean water, or writing letters and making phone calls to legislators about justice issues, and, of course, spending time in prayer with the God to whom they have given their long lives. I see love in the faces of our associates who give themselves generously in homeless shelters, in hospitals, in tutoring immigrants, in the work of their everyday lives. And love is there in the faces of our employees and colleagues and volunteers who bring their talents to help the SCN mission of charity, of love, become real through making our ministries both professional and compassionate, in helping us find ways for our commitment to care for the earth, in searching out the ways that we need to speak for women, immigrants, refugees, and those living in poverty. St. Vincent de Paul, who is our patron and who inspired charity charisms over 400 years ago, said, "Let us love God, but let it be with the strength of our arms and the sweat of our brow." This afternoon, we want to share with you some of the ways that the SCN family is living out his words. Again, we thank you for joining us on the journey and giving us an opportunity to share some of our mission stories with you. As Jean said, without the support and involvement of our wonderful partners and collaborators, much of this is not possible. Today, you'll hear some stories of the difference that each donation makes. Though your arms and sweat may not be involved in these ministries, you are surely part of them, and our sisters around the world in their morning and evening prayer mention our benefactors every day. They may not know you by name, but they are aware of the generous hearts that support them. That sense of being supported from afar gives them the courage to continue to choose love in the often challenging situations in which they live and minister. So thank you for joining us as together we love this world which is ours.
Good afternoon. I'm Tanae Davis. And I am Andriana Williams. Tanae and I have been friends since the 6th grade. We went to the same high school and graduated together. We've been through a lot. And now, one of the most meaningful things in our lives is our relationship with the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. What do the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth mean to me? Family. There is no safer place on earth than in the presence of a sister. She wraps you in love and models a life confident in Christ. The sisters have adopted me into their family, fresh out of college. They have smothered me with love and have inspired me to live on purpose, with the purpose of being help to those less fortunate than I. Tanae and I have both participated in the volunteer program with the sisters. We have helped those in need in Florida, Pennsylvania, Belize, West Virginia, and Kentucky, including helping through the disaster relief program. During these mission trips, I learned that all of us can make a difference, that the little things matter, and that everyone is worthy of compassion. Every one of us needs help at some time in our lives. I grew especially close to the sisters when I was invited to attend a conference with the Vincenzent family. The theme was welcoming the stranger, and we looked at issues of migration in our country. It's funny, but at first I felt like the stranger. I didn't know anyone else, and I wasn't sure where I fit in. I will never forget how Sister Brenda Gonzalez welcomed me to table 19, even after spilling coffee all over the table. I felt welcomed and loved, and that my input was needed. I felt unconditionally accepted. When Emmanuel Baptist Church on West Broadway in Louisville announced they were having a back-to-school bash, I asked the sisters to help collect supplies to fill backpacks for students. Together, we collected enough to fill 120 of the 300 backpacks that were given that day. You can imagine how overwhelmed the church was at this generosity and the impact these backpacks have had for these children returning to school. I think about the sisters as I minister through my own church. I serve as part of our prayer ministry, and will never forget when a man approached me with the tattoos of a local gang on his neck. He asked me to pray for his daughter. What a blessing. I've dedicated my life to service and am so grateful to the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth for how they've inspired me and for the witness that they offer to our world.
Being a part of the SCN family, I've seen what God can do through the power of prayer. I've grown in my personal relationship with God, and I've learned that love isn't real unless it's unconditional. The Sisters of Charity of Nazareth have truly shown me unconditional love through the best and worst times of my life. They were with me to cheer me on as I graduated from Spalding University. They developed my love for serving as a volunteer, and they've become a part of my family, getting to know my brother Terrence and eagerly asking about special events in his life, like the Shine Prom, in which he and his girlfriend dress up and join other young adults with special needs in a night of fun. So many Sisters of Charity of Nazareth are my mentors and have been essential throughout my journey as a young adult. Sister Margaret Roderick's advice and guidance led me to be an honor student and a college graduate. She inspired me to put God and studies first. She was the first person, other than my mother, who saw the best in me and helped me to see the best in myself. Sister Margaret nominated me for the Mother Catherine Spalding Service Learning Award at Spalding University, where I earned a BA in social work. I was so humbled. After receiving the award, I committed to a life of service, modeling my life after Mother Catherine Spalding the best way I can. Sister Luke Biarski is my light of humor. She taught me that there is more to life than just your day-to-day schedule. Being led by the Spirit of God and not by the expectations of people is what I am most grateful that Sister Luke has shown me from her lifestyle. Sister Nancy Girth is my spiritual advisor and voice of reason. I can always go to her for confirmation and comfort. Everyone needs somebody in their life who reminds them that they are not just ordinary. She is my reminder that heaven is within. These sisters have helped me to be the woman I am today. Now I'm inspired to encourage youth to serve in the community. I provide the best service I can to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in my work at Lee Specialty Clinic here in Louisville, where miracles happen. Andriana and I are both members of Charity Alive, a program for young adults designed to build and maintain relationships with the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth, serve others, develop spirituality, and find direction in life. My prayer is to be a woman of God who loves without limits, just like the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. Thank you all.
You know, my mother always said she can dress me up, but she can't take me out. I just dropped some dressing on my blouse. I'm Sister Luke, the director of our SCN Lay Mission Volunteer Program. Our volunteers serve in Appalachia, New Orleans, Montana, Belize, Botswana, and India, to name a few places. We also have a disaster relief ministry. I just returned from Houston several days ago with 14 volunteers. And I know some of those volunteers are here. Would you please stand up, those who traveled to Houston with me? Thanks to the generosity of so many people, including many of you in this room, we were able to respond to the people affected by Hurricane Harvey. While in Houston, we worked in collaboration with St. Bernard Project, a nonprofit organization with whom we worked with in New Orleans following Hurricane Katrina. And as you can see from the photos, our volunteers dressed in safety suits, wore respirators as they removed mold and began to tear out wallboard and floorboard from homes so the rebuild may begin in the future. Our volunteers assisted at the Free Indeed Church, a non-denominational church in the most underserved area of Houston. It was there that we prepared food boxes that were distributed during the week. We were able to serve 500 families with food, medical supplies, and personal necessities. We restocked shelves and broke down many, many cardboard boxes. Even after weeks and months pass after a disaster, people are still dazed and confused in dealing with their homes that have been destroyed and with their personal treasures that had to be thrown away. But there's always a glimmer of hope that emerges from darkness when people come together, welcoming, embracing, and connecting with each other, and doing what is ever necessary to help. I met so many people who inspired me. People like Willie and David, who are homeless and jobless, living at the shelter, but they volunteered every day to help others. I will always remember a couple I met when we went to the church to say goodbye on our last day. I had seen this couple during the week, and I thought they were volunteers. I come to find out they were victims of the hurricane and have been sleeping on cots in the back of church since the Hurricane Harvey happened. Their names are Marlon and Anthony. I sat down to have coffee with them. That's one of my favorite things to do, is have coffee with people. And Marlon told me that she had a double mastectomy 2 years ago, and that Anthony had his leg amputated just a month before the hurricane. And now they're at the homeless shelter, waiting to get back into an apartment because their old apartment is filled with mold. I asked, how would you manage this? And they said the church would give them some money, but they still needed a couple months' rent. God always leads me to the right people at the right time. We had no intention of going back to that church that day, but I knew the right thing was to give Anthony and Marlon enough money for a couple months' rent, money that had been donated specifically to help a person in need. They cried and said, "We can never, ever repay you." And I said, "It's not me. It's people at a distance who gave because they wanted to help. People who trust the sisters and gave because they knew we would give it to the people who need it most." Marlon and Anthony are the ones who taught me there's always a bright spot, even in the most devastating situation. They said, this is like a rainbow in the storm. You know, that was just the first trip to Houston, but there'll be many more planned. I left that city with a heart filled with memories, a spirit carrying others in prayer, a keen awareness that everything in this world is temporary, a great appreciation for the SCN volunteers. And I also left Houston with this pink cowgirl hat that was given to me. And no, Jean, you cannot have it.
I'm stealing that hat, sister. Did you see me on Oaks Day wearing that pink cowboy hat? So, how many of you have ever been to Africa? How many have been to Botswana? Oh, that's good. So, for those of you who don't know, Botswana used to be a part of South Africa, very northern tip of the edge of the Kalahari Desert. Got its independence in 1966, and the next year, diamonds were discovered there. Yeah. So the government, fairly flushed with cash, can provide housing for most, if not all, of its citizens, and medical care for most, if not all, of its citizens, except hospice care, those who are the sickest and most infirm. And that's where the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth come into play in Botswana. 5 years ago, I was a part of the very first Join the Journey luncheon, and there was an ask that we donate. And at that luncheon, I donated joined the journey with my treasure. And as I began to learn more about what the sisters do and what they are about, I decided to also join that journey with my time and talent. Last year, we went to India. Those of you who were there last year saw that. This year, it was Botswana. Africa, the motherland, called so because all other continents split apart from it. It is indeed the cradle of life. We're in the middle of what would be the downtown shopping district in Habarong, and as you can tell, it's still quiet. And the sisters say that the African people are very gentle people, very loving and very welcoming.
We sing to you on this happy day.
You might hear the voices of children playing in La Baste. This is St. Mary's Preschool, where the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth are nurturing the village children from 2 to 5 years old, preparing them for school.
I'm very happy to be here with the little children. We give the faith formation. The little ones, we teach, of course, the Christian values. When I take the poor children, admit here, I feel happy that I am doing the work of God. Though sometimes it is difficult to manage, at the same time, we give the value education. So I'm quite happy here.
I make some difference in the lives of the children. They feel very happy, and they like it. They love me very much. I love them so much.
Here in Natantle, the children in this preschool are being prepared for their future.
I am Major. I'm 5 years old. My name is Kito Chandra. When I grow up, I want to be a soldier. When I grow up, I want to be a policeman.
Jesus in my heart, oh, down, down. Jesus in my heart. I love you, Jesus.
You might hear the voices of praise. It's Mother's Day, and the worship is joyous. As the service is ending, the work of the sisters is just beginning. Sister Anne is preparing Holy Communion to be taken to the sick and infirm.
We are here to give Holy Communion to the sick person who is paralyzed. His name is Reuben. They were mistaken. They thought he was stealing something from their shop, so they beat him up on his neck, and then he is paralyzed. He is paralyzed for lifelong.
In these homes where there is often tragedy and misery, there is praise.
We visit her, and we also kind of bring food items and clothes for that.
The compassion and the care the sisters offer spreads across southern Botswana.
We are here at the Pabe Lelong Hospice. Pabe Lelong means home of love and care, and that is certainly the case here.
Catherine's mother was in care here.
The pain was so severe, and being a Catholic and knowing about this area, I contacted the sisters here.
Tato was just 19 when she needed help from the sisters here.
When she came here, then she was very weak. But after some time, she recovered. Then she's so thankful that the sisters and the staff cared for her so much that even now she doesn't even know what to say if it wasn't the hospital. But maybe at this time she wouldn't be here.
And the fellow, our comedian, blind with multiple sclerosis, his stay in this hospice with the sisters has him well enough to perform on stage.
I didn't take it as a barrier in my life because, as a human being, I think when you are mentally fit, as long as you can think, I don't think there's something which can deny you to move on in life, because there's always plan B.
When she was getting held, when she was receiving all that support, all the love that sisters gave her, they continued giving her all the support even though she didn't want them. But at the end of the day, when she got better, she realized, these people, all they wanted is life for me. The love they've given her, she's so appreciative of it. And right now she's who she is because of them and because of the hospice.
In Botswana, these are some of the faces and voices that are lifted up by the hands of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth. Impelled by the love of Christ, they continue to dedicate their lives to God, helping to create a world without borders and courage for all who cross them.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Such great memories watching that, and not to be outdone by my sister with the pink hat. I stand here now proud to stand on behalf of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth to ask you to join me in supporting their wonderful work. You need to know that 100% of your donations, every single penny that you give, goes directly to an SCN Ministries and is an investment that changes lives and helps to change the world. Each year, the sisters have to raise $1.5 million to support their worldwide ministries. We share that number with you to give you an idea of the scope of the needs for SCN Ministries. What you've been inspired to give today matters and helps the sisters meet their ministry needs. Now, table leaders, would you please distribute the pledge cards, and then I'll walk you through it. There are 3 levels, which are multi-year pledges. And we're hoping that you will pledge support not only for this year, but for the coming years as well. Pledging support for multiple years ensures the sisters can continue their ministries into the future. Will you join me in offering support today? The first level is the Pilgrim level. It is $500 a year for 5 years. That's less than $10 a week to make a real difference in the lives of people in need. The next level is a Pioneer level, and that's $1,000 a year for 5 years. That's $20 a week. Now, this would help the sisters do so much more. Could you consider a gift at this level? And then we have the third level, is the Pathfinder level. That's $5,000 a year for 5 years. Imagine the impact of this gift, and then the first person who does that gets this lovely banner. I will deliver it to you personally and wrap it around your neck. Would you please consider a gift at this level? Now, many of you were with us for our first Join the Journey luncheon 5 years ago and are just completing the 5-year pledge that you made then. We're so very grateful to you and hope that we have demonstrated the impact of your gift. Would you consider extending your multi-year pledge? Now, we know and respect that we all have different financial means. We truly appreciate whatever level of support you can provide. And remember that every single dollar that you give today goes directly to support SCN Ministries worldwide. If you'd like to make your gift by credit card today, you can do so at the registration table in the hallway just outside this room as you leave. But whatever gift you've chosen to make today, or if you've simply just given us the gift of your time being with us here today, we sincerely thank you. We hope you will share these stories with others who may want to be involved in some way. Come, join us on a journey. You'd love it. It's fun. I'll give you some time now to finish filling out your cards. And when you are done, just please hand them to your facilitator, to your table leader. And then we'll be back to conclude our program. Thank you again to each of you for joining us today. Your presence is great encouragement, and you have made this Join the Journey luncheon a success. As you leave here, please know that together we are working to make our world a better place. Blessings on your journey and the rest of your day. Thank you for coming. you.